Free university and specialist training for thousands of nurses and midwives. The Andrews Labor government is backing Victoria's healthcare system with free university and specialist training for thousands of nurses and midwives. In a $270 million boost to the health system, more than 17,000 nurses and midwives will be recruited and trained as part of a massive hiring and upskilling initiative, building an army of homegrown health workers to care for Victorians. G'day and welcome to This International Student Life. We tell stories and our story is international education, and stand by for some breaking news that will create a lot of joy and hope for anyone looking for a career in nursing and medicine and as a midwife. This media release from the 28th of August 2022, more than 10,000 students will have the cost of their nursing or midwifery undergraduate studies paid for, while scholarships will be available for thousands more who complete postgraduate studies in areas of need, including intensive care, cancer care, paediatrics and nurse practitioner specialities. All new domestic students enrolling in a professional entry nursing or midwifery course in 2023 and 2024 will receive a scholarship of up to $16,500 to cover course costs. Students will receive $9,000 while they study, and the remaining $7,500 if they work in Victorian public health services for 2 years. More midwives will join the workforce through an expanded postgraduate midwifery incentive program, which will provide scholarships to cover course costs and salary support for 150 existing nurses to continue working while they complete their specialist studies in midwifery. The initiative, together with the $12 billion pandemic repair plan, brings the number of nurses and midwives being supported to more than 20,000. This includes funding 13,000 nursery and midwifery positions and scholarships, and funding the upskilling of 8,500 nurses. The package also includes scholarships for postgraduate nurses to complete studies in specialty areas such as intensive care, emergency, paediatrics and cancer care, worth an average of $10,000. $11,000 scholarships for enrolled nurses to become registered nurses, covering course costs and boosting the number of registered nurses. $12,000 scholarships to support training and employment of 100 new nurse practitioners in both acute and community settings. And finally, more than $20 million to provide more support to the growing numbers of graduates and postgraduates as they transition to working in our hospitals, ensuring they have access to clinical educators, preceptors and study time they need. The media release continues. The package recognises that the cost of study is a financial burden for prospective and existing nurses, and helps our health services maximise the recruitment of new nurses and midwives in key areas of need. In the past 8 years, the number of nurses in the public system has risen by more than 26%, increasing by 9,400 to more than 45,000 nurses. Victoria's Labor government, led by the Premier Daniel Andrews, has overseen a net increase of more than 22,000 healthcare workers in the system since 2014, up by 27.6%. And from the media release, the following quotes. Premier Daniel Andrews says, "If you're in Year 12 and you've been thinking about studying nursing or midwifery, go for it. We've got your HECS fees covered." Every health system in the country is under enormous pressure due to the pandemic. The best thing we can do to support our hard-working staff is give them more support on the ground. That's why this package will train and hire more nurses than ever before. This quote from the Minister for Health, Mary-Ann Thomas. You can't deliver a health system with empty hospitals, which is why we're investing in hardworking nurses and midwives that are helping Victorian patients every single day. This quote from the Minister for Training and Skills and Higher Education, Gail Tierney. By providing more pathways and incentives to education, we're giving our nurses and midwives the practical support that they need to continue caring for Victorians. For more information or to confirm any of the content in this episode, see the media release published by the Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, titled Making It Free to Study Nursing and Midwifery. The link is below in the description. And what does this mean for international students? Well, make sure that you talk to your international student support team or any recruiting agent in your country, and make sure that you understand all the details under this scheme announced by the Victorian Government. Free university and specialist training for thousands of nurses and midwives. The Andrews Labor government is backing Victoria's healthcare system with free university and specialist training for thousands of nurses and midwives. This media release from the 28th of August 2022 Premier Daniel Andrews says, if you're in Year 12 and you've been thinking about studying nursing or midwifery, go for it. We've got your HECS fees covered. Every health system in the country is under enormous pressure due to the pandemic. The best thing we can do to support our hardworking staff is give them more support on the ground. That's why this package will train and hire more nurses than ever before. The Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Daniel Andrews, has announced making it free to study nursing and midwifery. This announcement made on the 28th of August 2022 in Melbourne, Australia. Wise Words Media is always looking for great stories about international students in Melbourne, and we're always keen to share any story of any student here that we think might be helpful to those. You might be currently overseas just trying to decide whether to come to Australia. And be sure to leave your comments below. We'd love to hear your feedback about this initiative and whether it applies for you and whether it will encourage you to study in Australia. International Student Life is produced by Wise Words Media. This episode contains nil paid promotions. That's all we have for you now in this episode. We've somehow managed to fit all the information in. The other thing I would like to say and just remind you is that this channel is we are based in Melbourne, Australia. Wise Words Media has a lot of experience in international student education, creating marketing, video and audio content for international students. We also have a lot of experience settling people from overseas into life in Melbourne since 1979. We love showing off Melbourne, and we love helping people get familiar with everything this city has to offer. So make sure that you make the fullest of everything life in Melbourne has to offer through your university. Your international student support team has many activities throughout the year, not just orientation week. There's many things to take advantage of, many clubs and societies. And if you're a student whose language, English, is a second language, don't stop yourself and be anxious about joining in. Get involved, practice your English, find conversation clubs, and we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll chat to you soon. All information in this episode is taken from sources available to the public in the